Hello guys, Tops here. Today on how perks work. Fortified Mind. And Fortified Mind is a very simple perk. It's very similar to Colossus. It gives you plus 25% of your resolve, basically. In addition. So, one thing to note about this, plus 25% of your total resolve. So the Fortified Mind stuff works on buff. So if you are confident, you get plus 25%. The banner buff, you get plus 25%. So normally you get 10% of your banner. If you are in banner range, you get 10% of your banner as additional resolve for your character, for your brother, right? So if you are within 4 tiles of the banner, let's say the banner has 100 resolve, your brother would get plus 10 resolve from the bannerman, and if you have Fortified Mind, you would get plus 12 from the bannerman. Fortified Mind works on all kinds of buff, works on the Lone Wolf buff as well, so you would get more, plus 15% from Lone Wolf, you would get that too. So, Fortified Mind just increases your resolve significantly. And now you might ask, on what kind of bros I want to have high resolve? Obviously on my bannerman, because my bannerman gives 10% of his resolve to everybody within 4 tiles, so my whole company. So Fortified Mind on my bannerman auto pick. I really like to pick it on tanks, because my tanks are constantly getting surrounded, and being surrounded means you get your resolve reduced by -3 for every surround. Also, every time an opponent steps on your tile, you have to make a resolve check. And if you are alone outside, out of the banner buff, you are more likely to drop your moral when an enemy steps on your field. Because you also get additional resolve. I think it's +3 resolve for every brother that is adjacent to you. So the actual resolve from a brother in the center of your formation is most of the time like +15, maybe even +20 resolve. And you don't get this benefit if you are out on the flank by yourself. So that's why I also like to take a Lone Wolf with Fortified Mind on my tanks. Also like to take Fortified Mind on my flank bros. So like my Greatsword guy who is sitting on the flank, or my big two-handed hammer guy who is sitting on the left flank. I like to have Fortified Mind on those brothers because they need it. Also, the +10 resolve that you get from the arena also increases Fortified Mind. So you would get +12 from the arena if you have Fortified Mind. Very simple perk, huge impact. We can check fast what Turtle has to say about Fortified Mind. Turtle, best guide on Battle Bros. He does a lot of complicated math. It's a Steam guide. And yeah. Right, really helps versus Fearsome as well. Helps versus Hex because the charm attack checks your resolve. So it goes versus your resolve. So if you have 95 plus resolve, there's only 5% chance that you get hexed by a hex. But if you have low resolve, high likelihood that you get hexed. Again, good protection versus Fearsome. Also, Geists do damage versus your resolve. So if you have a little bit more resolve, you are more likely to resist. Not Geists. I'm sorry, guys. Alps. Alps do damage versus your resolves when they scream at you and when they sleep you. And the ghosts, the Geists, right? When they start screaming at you, they proc 3 morale checks. So having high resolve, really good versus ghosts as well. And this one does not round, so you get +1 resolve for 4 points of resolve. And as I said, all of the banners, all of the boni that you get from the bannerman or from the arena, all of them stack, right? So all of them work for the +25%. Okay, and then we have, Turtle is talking about this bannerman, Lone Wolf, right? If you're out by yourself and you get surrounded, you need to have high resolve. So Lone Wolf tanks definitely resolve. Anti-Geist, Anti-Hex. Ancient Undead Priest, the stun attack from the Ancient Undead Priest checks against your morale as well. So yeah, and it's an anti-fearsome, of course. Ancient Dead have minus 12, 16, 20. Fallen Heroes minus 20, Warlords 16, Gunners have minus 12. So there are certain opponents that have Fearsome, and Fearsome drops your moral by like minus 20, and then you make a resolve check. That's I should explain that. Every time you get hit for like a couple of hit points, you have to make a resolve check, a moral check. And every moral check is against your current resolve. So the more resolve you have, the more likely you are to have to pass a positive moral check, and the less likely you are to fail a moral check and drop a moral status. i.e., you drop to breaking or fleeing, right? And if you rally, right, if the banner uses the rally ability, the higher your bro's resolve is, the more likely it is that they pass the banner check, that they get rallied by the banner. So having high resolve is great. The thing is, you have multiple ways to get resolve. So one of the ways is you get, let's say, plus 10 or plus 12 from the bannerman. You can get plus 10 from arena fights. You can, if you do like the 13 arena fights or 14, so you get the arena buff plus 10, and then you can drink a potion, the resolve potion, for plus 20. And yeah, that's kind of it. Also, staying close to your brothers gives you additional resolve. So it is not, let's say your brother, like most bros have on average like 40 base resolve. It is not unreasonable to, in the fight, have like 60 resolve or something. And if you are close to your banner and your banner can rally you at any time, like, you don't need to have high resolve generally on most bros. But if you use your bro by himself, far away from the bannerman, on a position where he cannot be rallied and nobody can help him, i.e. lone wolf tanks or the bros who are on the flank by themselves, you need to have high resolve. And I'm going to show you in game what kind of brothers I use high resolve. Or rather, Fortified Mind. I will show you this really fast. Again, it's a nice perk, but for a tier 3 perk, like it's on a second level up, I tend to not take it that early, because most bros don't need it that early. I like to have another defensive or offensive perks. For instance, early in the game, you want to like have like increased defense from dodge, or you want to have like increased stats from stuff like gifted, or you want to have like utility with quick hands, stuff like that. So I rarely take Fortified Mind on level 3. But on my tanks, Fortified Mind is just a must-have. I need to have high resolve to go outside by myself and start tanking. On my greatsword bros who are holding the flank, Fortified Mind is a must. And especially if you have positive character traits and you planning on getting the arena, Fortified Mind is a great stack. So if your character has like, if you for instance have like somebody who is like fearless, which gives you plus 10 resolve, or if you have an oath taker who is like 56 base resolve, taking up Fortified Mind to just further increase that is always a good thing if you like to have increased resolve bros. This guy is fearless too, also a flanking greatsword guy. So my two flank guys have relatively high resolve. They still need to get the max arena buff. They have relatively high resolve. So if they are outside of the banner range and they get surrounded by 3 opponents, they still have high enough resolve to pass most moral checks. And of course, Bannerman has as much resolve as I can get with Fortified Mind. This guy is 125. And yeah, as I said, tanks high resolve. And on anybody else, I tend to not level resolve that much. So like I have 50, like always like around 40 to 50. That's kind of like, I always try to aim to get 50. But also there's then the arena buff. So I think after 5 winning fights at the arena, you get plus 5 resolve. So you have a relatively easy access to plus 5 resolve. And especially like bros who have like irrational or who was the other guy? Like traits that negatively inflict your resolve, where you like pessimist and stuff, where you can randomly fail moral checks, or like you randomly have a negative moral at some checks, right? Those bros are also a good brother for 40 mind, right? To check that out, to balance that out. But again, I would say it's not too mandatory. You can get away with lower resolve on your brothers. But you have to be patient. Those guys will fail moral checks, and they are more for like the center of your formation close to your bannerman. If you put them out there by yourself, like here, and they get surrounded by like orc warriors or chosen, they are pretty likely to fail a moral check. Or if they get hit by ancient undead or something, very likely to fail a moral check, and then they might be in trouble. So be careful with your low resolve bros. Don't put them far away from the bannermen by themselves. And if you want to double down on fearsome, taking Fortified Mind on everybody is probably not a bad idea. Especially if you want to play with like the gunner or something, taking Fortified Mind to further increase the chance of fearsoming. That's pretty good. I think the fearsome thing is it caps at 110 resolves. You can only have -20 from fearsome. So going above 110 resolve doesn't do you much favor for fearsome, but like who is getting 120 over 100 resolve except for like your bannerman? Maybe a dedicated tank. I will try to load the campaign where we have a very strong Battleforge tank with high resolve. Let's see. Yeah, so like 95 resolve on my Battleforge tank, or my Monolith tank, is something that I really, really like having. Because with Lone Wolf, you get plus 15% of that. So if he's alone by himself, he has like 120 resolve or something. So that's pretty nice. And I don't have to give him a resolve potion when he's alone by himself. I can just give him a fatigue potion, so he can permanently shield wall with Iron Lungs, even with the Gilda's Embrace. Or I can take a shield that has negative fatigue use and can give him then a fatigue potion, so he can use shield wall and Indorm more frequently. And here we have a like excellent bannerman, 153. Stuff like Drunkard gets also increased by Fortified Mind, so you get +5 resolve, so you would get +6 basically. Old +10 resolve, you get +12 if you have Fortified Mind. Yeah, so really, really nice to stack resolve on your tanks. And as you can see, these guys are nimble dodge overwhelm tanks, something like that, kind of experimental. Those guys have 43 resolve, so they are kind of designed to work close to your bannerman. Because if you send these guys alone by themselves out and they get surrounded by opponents, they will fail moral checks and they're just going to break and flee. So that's not working too great. But those tanks, if you want to use tanks that are close to your core formation, you can get away with less resolve and you don't have to take Fortified Mind. And then you have the benefit of having like increased defense by like high dodge values, and you can take other perks for your tank. But these are not the lone wolf tanks who go outside by themselves here and tank a whole army down, right? And yeah, on something like this flanking guy, having Fortified Mind would be nice to make him more resilient to stuff like that. Yeah. And there are, again, a lot of arguments for high resolve, a lot of arguments against high resolve. By the way, brain damage, +15 resolve. If you give him Fortified Mind, you get +40 resolve, so you can get a crazy high bannerman. I think the highest I ever had was like 160 plus without brain damage. So with brain damage, that would be even more. So if you are crazy, you can fish you can fish for the crazy brothers. All right, guys. Yeah, this is it. And tell me down in the comments below how you use Resolve and Fortify Mind on your brothers. And thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And have a nice day. Bye-bye.